Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
Forget traffic jams and parking headaches. For a growing number of Chinese drivers, the car has become the starting point of something bigger. It's the Friday night escape route, the backseat picnic spot, maybe the weekend project that turns a standard sedan into a cozy sleeper. And cities are taking notice too, building not just roads, but rest stops with character, camping zones with electricity hookups, and apps that turn a simple drive into a shared social adventure. What I'm trying to say is car culture is changing here in China, and we're going to talk about it. We're live from our studios here in Beijing. This is Roundtable. I'm Steve Hatherley. Thank you so much for being with us today. And for the show, I'm with Yushan and Yushun. First up, once upon a time, buying a car was very simple. It was about getting from one place to another. But in China now, that definition is beginning to change. For a growing number of drivers, a car is becoming something more. A weekend camper, perhaps, or a hobby, or a racing machine, even an extension of a personal identity. And as people find new ways to use their vehicles, an entire industry is growing all around them. The automotive market is now something different. It used to be about repairs and replacement parts, but today it also includes everything from RV campsites and vehicle customization to motorsports, classic cars, and automotive tourism. There is something changing here in the country when it comes to cars and culture, Yushan and Yushan. We're going to talk about it today. What do you think is driving this change? They seem to be taking on a whole new role.
Exactly. It feels like in recent years, there are so many new changes and trends in the car market because the whole industry, I think, it is experiencing, especially in China, a lot of changes. And now, for years, growth came from people buying their first car. But today, China has more than 370 million vehicles on the road, and ownership has matured in many cities. And we can compare the number probably from the past 10 years, because the number of vehicles in China has grown rapidly and also consistently, rising from approximately 194 million in 2016 to now 370 million vehicles.
Yeah, that's within 10 years.
Yes, that's nearly doubling the number. So it is definitely a broader, and also people are spending more and also shifting toward the market of more mature, and a lot of demands and needs are changing.
So I guess before, if you look at maybe 10 years ago or maybe even further back than that, it was just about having the car.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I think back then having a car means very limited information for people or for the family. Like it used to be a part of a dowry present for marriage. You get a car ready to start a family.
Dang, that's pretty good.
Or you get a car ready to start, working at a new place, a new city. That's sort of like associated with your personal, like persona of sort.
Right, but it wasn't about, oh, what can I do with this car other than drive it from home to work or home to the grocery store or using it for commutes. But nowadays, for young people, the definition of that is changing a little bit.
Right. For young people nowadays, it's all about, I own this car, and what else am I unlocking from it? So it's the experience. It's the, not just the transportation, like you said, it's becoming a lifestyle product, a way to travel, to socialize, to customize and express personality. So China's off-road vehicle market exceeded 223 billion yuan in 2025 alone, and that's roughly double the previous year. And in the meantime, motorsports events are also attracting record crowds. So we are seeing that young people nowadays, they're expanding their own gaze, widening their own gaze in terms of what cars can do and what vehicles in general can do.
Those motorsports events are insanely popular, yeah?
Exactly. This year, I think it drew people's attention, and a lot of people, including me, joined the crew of watching some of these events.
Oh, you got into it too?
Kind of, because some of the, entertainment movies and also the actual events that are happening here in China. The launch of the 2026 Beijing Yizhuang GT World Challenge is one thing. Because it is kind of one of the examples of major international events that, having the field that is in China, and Beijing is
the
the
superstar drivers.
Yeah.
exactly, and they are starting having Beijing e-tron this area as the quote unquote the permanent event field for it, and also F1 absolutely the thing that caught a lot of people's attention, and a lot of people travel to Shanghai.
Chinese Grand Prix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It attracted a lot of people, and also recently the 2026 Formula E Shanghai E-Prix sold out also and drew nearly 50,000 spectators and partnered with around 250 local businesses and hotels. That's basically an example of driving significant increases in spending on dining, hospitality, and also entertainment.
The Chinese Grand Prix, the 2026 Formula One Chinese Grand Prix, it attracted the most people it's had in terms of attendance in a couple of decades. And that right there, that alone is evidence of, I mean, if we just talk about motorsports, never mind the car culture as a whole, but even just motorsports, that alone, it's growing and growing and growing and growing, which is really cool to see. I mean, I think we can say this isn't really unique to China in terms of like the car culture and the car being a part of your life more than in a way than just a commute. You know, in America and other parts of the world, like I'm thinking of the road trip where you and your friends or your family will get in the car and drive for days to your destination, that type of thing. So yeah, it's not unique to China, but it is kind of different in a way, in the sense that many of the same interests are being developed here in the car market, but it's expanded so quickly, and I think that's maybe what sets it apart a bit.
Yeah, for expanding part, I think that's also reflecting on how people's perspectives are really changing these days regarding cars. And yeah, one good example would be on the RV side of things. We previously mentioned RV on Roundtable, saying just how popular it had been for the past few years. And for this consecutive years, camping and RV travel has become increasingly popular among Chinese people, especially young people and young families indeed. Previously, when we think about RV, it's so niche. It used to be very expensive as well.
Yeah, Canada and America too. It's super, super niche.
Yeah.
And some of these machines, these RVs, are gorgeous.
Really?
Oh, they're stunning. I've lived in houses that weren't as nice as some of these RVs, and they can get very, very expensive. But I think I can say lifestyle. I think the lifestyle, the RV lifestyle, yeah, even in the West, is still a very niche one.
I think now it still kind of is in China too, because whenever there is a RV lifestyle live stream popping up, thousands of tens
or
of
videos
thousands
on
of
streaming platforms.
Yeah, well, I'm more on the live streaming side because that's
yeah?
where the simultaneous fun happen. You know, you never know at which corner you might see like a tiny little bathroom that actually work within a van, like an RV. So that's something that's drawing people's attention, and really the market also has a huge potential here in China too. So the China's RV fleet is expected to reach 268,000 vehicles in 2026, and that's according to CCTV Finance. But its penetration rate remains below 0.0%. So we see there's still room for growth.
Yeah, 0.1% penetration rate. I mean, that's not really that surprising. We're talking about RVs, how they fit into the entire market.
Exactly. And I think that's why the government or a lot of people are paying attention to the whole market. And in 2026, the Ministry of Commerce and 8 other government departments introduced measures to support the automotive aftermarket, including improving RV campground infrastructure and also optimizing road access for RVs. I think it is a signal that is showing people that, okay, vehicles, they are not only the transportation for us to commute and everything. It is becoming a lifestyle experience that we can actually have after not only buying a car, but also rental.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the rental market, and we're seeing this in China as well. It's quite strong in terms of RV rentals because buying one is a huge huge purchase. More expensive than a house sometimes, depending on what you buy. And that's why people, they want to take them away just for a few days, a couple of times or a few times in a summer.
Or just traveling in specific area or region in China and just use that RV for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the high price and the low usage percentage, what's the right way to say that? Like, you don't use it that often. I think those are two of the factors that lead to the popularity of people renting them. There are some platforms out there that have put out some pretty affordable renting options. People take them for about 15 days on average, and they do this during peak travel seasons. In popular locations, they've even experienced some shortages of available vehicles, like they'll be sold out. You want to call and reserve one, but you can't because they're already gone.
And I was just browsing on Tmall just now. So on one of their travel tourism platform, they rent 8 different model types of RV and for different prices, varying from 100 per day to over 3,000 something per day. And the more you pay, the bigger RV you get, the more bedroom room and more flexibility, bigger tank and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool and made convenient for people to choose.
That's one change. Also, in terms of changing car culture, people are now using their car to express themselves personally.
Vehicle modification shops, that's what you're talking about. In cities like Beijing are seeing growing demand for, these kind of suspension upgrades or custom wheels and color wraps, just like the painting and other forms of...
Make it look different.
Yeah, stickers and everything.
Yeah.
Instead of changing vehicles simply for performance, many owners are customizing them to reflect their own style and interests, and probably even making jokes on the car's brand's name, or having different memes at the back of the car, so that you can... I think it is, what we're talking about, it is becoming a culture, because I think a lot of these car manufacturers, they're trying to build up communities among their users.
Yeah. When people really get into their car, I don't mean enter the car, I mean like as a hobby, when they really get into it, they really get into it. And some of it's a bit amusing as well. There are some discontinued EV brands out there that are still on the roads here in China, and some have put stickers on the back of the vehicle saying, "Caution, no parts available. Please avoid rear end collision." because it's because it's a discontinued brand.
Yeah.
Others take it for, that's just the exterior kind of fun little bumper sticker thing, but others, they take it a lot more seriously. They'll strip away some of the features in the car. They'll add portable Wi-Fi. They'll customize the interior. They'll add their own storage, kind of DIY storage systems to the trunk. And it's just proof, again, that people are seeing cars as an extension, almost as an extension of themselves.
Yeah, and in China, most of that changes you just mentioned, Steve, would require usually an official registration at local car management department or registration department. But there are indeed modifications that you can make to your car without having to apply for anything, like, for example, the color of your car's interior trim or adding decorative accessories, as long as they don't affect safety or block the license plate and etc. But major parts like the seats, the steering wheel, the pedals, dashboard lights, the spoiler, and even the car badge, those things cannot be modified.
Yeah.
And we actually have a clear rule about what we can do and what we cannot. And if you do something, then there's going to be penalty that follows. So people, sometimes they want to make it more personalized and customized, but they don't necessarily know clearly which are allowed.
Well, that's where the industry kind of steps in, if you will, and says not so fast, right? Because, people want to find new ways to use their cars. And there are certain rules that need to be followed. The industry, that plus just the changing culture in general, has industry kept up, or maybe not quite yet?
Not quite, perhaps, because consumer demand, it's always evolving faster than the rules. The biggest challenge right now isn't really a lack of interest because everybody kind of want to get their cars a bit more personalized. It's just that the regulations and industry standards is probably not keeping up the pace. So as people look for more ways to customize their vehicles or travel by RV, for example, there are many businesses that are still operating in traditional areas where the rules aren't that clear, or people aren't aware that there are rules in the first place, or that, for example, for RV parks, they probably wouldn't be able to offer everything that individual RV drivers need in terms of like exchanging the water system or dumping trash. Not every park is capable of offering those services, so it's not really that widespread in terms of how convenient it can be.
I think just vehicle modification in general can be kind of a gray area. Yeah, you see. I mean, we learned about this with the scooters, didn't we? When we talked about the e-scooters and the fact that people wanted to mod the scooters to make them go faster or things of that nature. You see people wanting to do the same things with their cars, too.
Yeah, there are actually regulations on how much of the parts of your car you can modify. Or basically, I think I remember that no more than 30% is the number. If the area covered by color changing film or stickers or decorations is less than 30% of the vehicle's total surface area, there's no registration update required.
Oh.
But if you want
completely change it,
yes, it is. You need to, you need to report it and also get a registration again for your car. Actually, they need to take a whole picture of your car and get the the license on.
And that registration need to be done within the 10 days after you did the changing of the car color. So yeah, a lot of details like that people don't know if they don't go research for it,
Well, I think the reason people don't know is because most people don't do that. But with the culture changing and more people are getting into that now, then more and more people are going to become aware of the rules that need to be followed. What about modifying EVs? I'm curious to know. Like things like, with the scooters, you could modify it to make it go faster than it's supposed to go. Can you modify like something like an EV battery or something? Those are huge, though. They're at the bottom they take up the entire bottom of the car.
It sounds really dangerous because first of all, that can be the I think 80% or probably 60 to 70% of the weight of the whole car. And then if you want to modify, we understand that the aim or the goal is to make the battery perform
longer.
better. So, but the thing is that, is it really worth it that you change it without the official proof of your own manufacturer?
What they do now is that they don't change your battery. They put add-on in the back trunk, which kind of make things sound even worse.
It's like external memory for your computer.
I know, right? It sounds like, oh, wow, you ran out of the power in your own battery, but there's a backup.
By the way,
power bank for cars.
Yeah, we're not advising any serious modifications, by the way, because that can sacrifice safety. You could also have your own pretty serious insurance or liability.
And legally, that's not really allowed either.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the... just the lifestyle as a whole and the economy and how it's related to it and what's changing. We know now that the car culture is changing within the industry, but how about the economy around it?
Earlier this year, actually, the government introduced a national roadmap, and it's kind of covers already kind of everything that we touched on so far. So in June, the Ministry of Commerce and 8 other government departments released measures on cultivating and expanding consumption in the automotive aftermarket. And that introduces 17 measures and selecting 40 pilot cities to test new approaches. So I think later on we'll kind of expand a bit more on that too, on how just different cities are leveraging on their own features and their own advantages in just achieving that and building their own kind of brand in terms of automotive development. But in general, I think the the economy is kind of making things more customized and refined for people.
So the goal there, I guess, is to standardize the industry,
Yeah.
standardize the industry, but still encouraging new forms of consumption within the industry itself.
So, yeah, I think one thing that is mentioned in these new measures is to make vehicle modifications safer and also more predictable.
Yeah.
That's the way that they use it. The measures call for clearer technical standards, certification systems, and also official lists of permitted modifications. And instead of operating in legal gray areas, businesses and consumers would have clearer rules for upgrading their vehicles safely.
What about for the RVs? Because it just hit me. Well, two things just hit me. Well, actually, now three things just hit me. I'm thinking about the drivers of those RVs. Number one, they would need to be licensed properly, I would think, because some of those machines are absolutely huge.
They're like a truck.
Yeah, right. So you're going to need a special license for that. But then I was thinking about the road infrastructure because those are quite heavy vehicles. So where are they allowed to go? Where are they not allowed to go? And then the third thing I was thinking suddenly about was the parks. Do they have the infrastructure already in place to be able to accommodate this new travel trend?
That's where the authorities are kind of aiming at right now, because for EV, we already have charging poles, more and more charging poles, as a matter of fact. But for RV, that's within the consideration range of further promoting. So right now, that aim lies to the fact that authorities want to improve road access and want to simplify campsite approvals and want to encourage the construction of higher quality RV parks with all that you mentioned, Steve, charging resources, the repairing of your RV, the water and electricity supply, and other essential services, so that people can more inclined to want to go on an RV and go on a road trip, just like how it's been done for the past decades in other countries.
I remember we did a story maybe a couple of years ago on Roundtable. Oh my goodness, I've been here for a while now, haven't I?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, and we were doing a story about because we were talking about this trend, and it was kind of like a little budding trend at the time. And we were talking about RV parks, and I think you called an RV park to check, what kind of infrastructure they had in place. And if I remember correctly, they said, yeah, we do have some things, but we don't have other things. So you're going to have to kind of figure it out on your own.
To be honest, the majority of the parks that I called back then, where I told them pretend to own an RV and just ask around, oh, can I park my RV at your park? Most of them kind of said no, because those parks, they operate as entertainment sites and they invite people to come, the customers to come to spend the night or spend the day in the RV they provide.
Yeah, right.
So that's
Not
a different
yours.
story.
Yeah.
And if you are talking about parking your own RV into their resort, that required them to supply you, and not many parks back then are able to do that.
Probably still the case because, again, those are huge, right? It's not like you can just pull over onto the side of the road. And then if it's a commercial parking lot, I don't know, like, are you allowed to pull in there for the night and just stay there, or are you not? I mean, those are the types of rules that need to be known as well.
Or probably that is what the market wants, because there is a market, there is a demand, there is businesses are doing it. People just want that kind of one-time RV experience, but not owning an RV and driving it to a parking lot. So,
yeah, we have those parks in Canada where you can pull your RV. So it's basically empty. It's empty, except they have like a little community center. They'll usually have a swimming pool, and then they'll have like public bathroom spaces, and then they'll have places to have a barbecue as well. And when you pull your RV in there, you can hook up to their system. So you hook up to their water, you hook up to their electricity, and then you pay a fee for the night to park, but then you also pay a fee for whatever you use in terms of water and electricity and things like that. Super popular in the summertime for Canadian families to get around for maybe a summer vacation with the kids or something like that. I want to talk about the cities a little bit too, because when we talk about these changes, it's not like a one-size-fits-all situation. Like you've got the Shanghai F1 race. So Shanghai is going to have like its own vibe going on. Yeah. So what about the other cities around the country? Are they following suit, like coming up with their own special personality, if you will, when it comes to car culture?
We mentioned it before. The government has selected 40 pilot cities to experiment with different parts of the automotive aftermarket.
Right.
And still, the goal is to let each city build around its own industries and also tourism resources and consumer demand before expanding successful ideas nationwide. And we understand that maybe one city is the place that holding the huge F1 event, but another, there are probably not that many fans that will specifically go there for a F1 event.
So what would another example be then?
So they will use the characteristic of that specific city. For example, cities like Shenyang, Wuhu, and Chongqing, they are known for, concentrating on used car trading or manufacturing or vehicle recycling and after-sales services. So in Shenyang, for example, the Hongqitai used car industrial cluster brings together vehicle sales, inspections, repairs, financing, and insurance, helping transform the city from a kind of manufacturing base into a regional automotive service hub, which means that I think that is making that region understand that, okay, if I need a car for maintenance, then I will drive it to that specific city. I think that is using the advantage of that single city.
Making it local.
Exactly.
I guess is what you mean.
I'm not even so surprised because Shenyang, well, Liaoning in general, they are kind of the starting place for modern China's industrialization. They in Shenyang, they have their museum for industrialization, I think. That's so cool that like you can see a lot of the industrial side of that city. So yeah, of course, they kind of thrive on that resource already. But for other cities like Yangzhou, for example, Yangzhou is known for tourism. It's a very typical tourism city. So they are in turn turning cars into travel experiences locally by investing actually just in the RV tourism industry. And what they're doing is building campsites and creating complete the buy, drive, park, and recharge network, just like how you mentioned in Canada, Steve. So Yangzhou, they already produces around 10% of China's RVs, and a recent RV festival attracted hundreds of campers. Well,
they sold a lot too, right?
Yeah, they sold like 30 million yuan in vehicle sales just over 3 days.
Nice.
That's pretty impressive.
Really, really impressive. And for those of you who live in Beijing or Tianjin or anywhere around, you might be interested to know that Tianjin is going to be focusing on motorsports, fun, and also classic cars. Are you guys fans of classic cars?
Not really.
I can always be surprised when there is a, super cool classic car that's parked on the street. But I understand that can be really expensive.
Way more expensive than the new ones, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been decades, right, that China's automotive success was measured by production lines and maybe sales figures. And then the market just grew, and then it kept growing. And then the more cars it sold, the more the culture started to change. And now people are using cars more than just as a thing, a tool to get from point A to point B. They are turning it into something that is a major part of their life. And it's kind of fun to see, to witness it.